The crisis of governance in the Kurdistan region. 1. The collapse of institutional governance. Since its inception, the Kurdistan Regional Government, KRG, has struggled to evolve into a functional, institutionalized authority. The deep-rooted tribal nature of Kurdish society continues to impede the development of essential state institutions such as the parliament, judiciary, government, central banking system, and civil society. This institutional fragility became especially pronounced following the 1994 split between the Patriotic Union of Kurdistan, PUK, and the Kurdistan Democratic Party, KDP. The conflict, although initially political, took on a territorial dimension and divided the region into two zones, the PUK-controlled Green Zone and the KDP-controlled Yellow Zone. Since then, both parties have effectively ruled their respective regions autonomously. Despite establishing the facade of democratic institutions, including a parliament and a multi-party system, power remained concentrated in the hands of tribal elites. A significant shift occurred in 2009 when the Guran movement entered the political scene and gained substantial parliamentary representation. Rather than embracing this as a step toward pluralism, the PUK and KDP viewed it as a threat. Over time, both parties began undermining parliament and neutralizing its role. By 2016, following the failed independence referendum, state institutions had become largely symbolic. Power gravitated toward a small circle within the Barzani family and a few influential figures within the PUK. From then on, formal governmental structures existed more as token entities than functioning democratic bodies. 2. The breakdown of legal authority and diplomatic representation. The October 2025 election in the Kurdistan region did little to change this power dynamic. Though the vote took place, the results have not been acted upon. No new government has been formed, and the newly elected parliament has yet to convene. The current holders of power do so without any legal or constitutional mandate. They are not part of a transitional government and do not derive authority from any elected office. Despite this vacuum, Kurdish leaders have continued to negotiate with the federal government in Baghdad, demanding budget allocations and asserting the KRG's constitutional rights. However, these negotiations lack any legal foundation. Individuals such as Masoud Barzani or Bafel Talabani are leading discussions without official status, undermining both the legitimacy and the effectiveness of the talks. The core issue is the KRG's long-standing failure to establish viable, transparent institutions and procedural norms. Without these, there are no clear diplomatic or legal channels through which to negotiate with Baghdad. The absence of structure renders any agreement fragile and subject to political manipulation. While Kurdish leaders criticize Baghdad for ignoring constitutional obligations, they themselves are operating far outside any constitutional or legal framework. The irony is stark. Leaders who dismantled their own institutions now appeal to constitutional norms in their dealings with the central government. 3. Economic mismanagement and tribal entitlement. For years, the ruling elite in Erbil has insisted that Baghdad is to blame for delays or failures in salary payments to civil servants. However, this narrative omits a critical fact. The KRG, under the leadership of the PUK and KDP, has consistently refused to hand over local revenues, including taxes and oil income, to the federal government. They want the benefits of autonomy while still expecting full financial support from Baghdad. This is an unsustainable contradiction. Moreover, the KRG receives external funds from other sources, including the U.S., which pays significant salaries to the Peshmerga forces. Still, the largest employment sector in the region, civil service, has been left to suffer. A growing number of civil servants are retired, and the economy is stagnant. There is no coherent development plan in place. Instead of investing in infrastructure, the ruling elite has actively dismantled the economic foundations laid by previous administrations. Government-affiliated companies, often linked to party insiders, thrive through illegal land seizures, oil smuggling, and other corrupt practices. Agricultural land and state property are often redistributed or sold without oversight, enriching those close to the ruling families. While the KRG contributes a fraction of its local revenues to Baghdad in exchange for civil servant salaries, this arrangement fails to address the deeper crisis. What Kurdistan needs is a robust institutional economy, one that includes investment in education, agriculture, public services, and sustainable trade. None of this can be achieved under tribal rule. A resourceful and accountable state apparatus is essential if the Kurdistan region is to develop economically and regain the trust of its people. Conclusion: from tribalism to institutional reform. The root of the Kurdistan region's crisis lies in the tribalization of politics and the deliberate erosion of democratic institutions. Without real reform, reform that decentralizes power, upholds constitutional governance, and invests in the region's long-term economic viability, the future of Kurdistan remains precarious. Real change will require the political will to dismantle tribal hierarchies, empower institutions, and reinstate the rule of law. Until then, the region will continue to suffer under the weight of accountable leadership, economic decay, and political illegitimacy.